Can't go wrong.
national show. Okay.
Are you ready to go?
Ready when you are.
Okay. Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hi, welcome to Politics Knoxville. I'm State Representative Stacey Campfield. With me today is final installment of our Meet a Gubernatorial Candidate. Today we have Congressman Zach Wamp. Zach, welcome to the show.
Honored to be here, Stacey. Thank you, sir.
Take a few minutes. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
51, father of 2. My son's already graduated from University of Tennessee. My daughter's a junior at UT. Kim and I have been married for 24 years. I was a commercial real estate broker in Chattanooga, did about 75 deals before I was elected to Congress. Been politically active for 27 years, done just about everything in the Republican Party from the precinct level all the way up. Ran for Congress in 91, 92 and lost, learned a lot, got back up off the ground, ran again and won. Been reelected 7 times by pretty large margins, standing on a constitutional principle, a good solid record. Love our state, think we can do even better, and now I'm running for governor.
Well, great. Thank you. And let's get right on into it, and we'll see where you stand on some of the issues of the day. Taxes. How do you feel about, or have you ever supported an income tax?
As a matter of fact, we have got to stop this conversation before it goes anywhere. We don't want an income tax in Tennessee. The people don't want it. I don't want it. We shouldn't have it. It actually is an asset not having one. And when I helped recruit Volkswagen to Chattanooga, that was one of the things they said they liked about our state was that we didn't have an income tax. So income tax is a complete non-starter. I will oppose it. I will veto it, even though the governor's got a weak veto. But we got to make sure we don't have a governor that's soft on the income tax.
Okay. How about any increase on the tax on food?
No. I mean, we don't need increase on taxes on anything in our state. We actually need less government, a few less state jobs, a smaller footprint, and living within our means. This is absolutely the wrong time to even think about new revenues. We don't have a revenue problem in our state. I say that with great respect. You're a state representative. We do have an expense problem, but we don't have a revenue problem.
Okay. One of the issues that's sort of come up and been bandied about a little bit is toll roads. Would you ever support toll roads?
You know, I have stood against toll roads thinking that they're a bad idea. The one place that I heard a pretty good pitch made was in Sevier County, because they said just to get people around the bottleneck there in Pigeon Forge, people from out of state would be paying for that if they were allowed to do some kind of a demonstrative program on some kind of a toll road. But I've always felt like that you get the camel's head under the tent, next thing you know you got tolls everywhere. I feel like we ought to budget and prioritize our state infrastructure and our roads without toll roads, and I've actually stood against them, and some people have kind of criticized me for publicly saying I don't like the concept of toll roads. Okay,
well, one of the big issues with the road builders a lot of times is the gas tax. Right now it's a percent of, it's a set figure for per gallon of gas sold. A lot of people say, well, it should be more flexible because it should be a percent of the sale price, because when oil prices go up, the prices to build roads go up.
Right.
Would you be open to adjusting that or changing the tax on gasoline from a set amount to a variable amount?
Well, we have to do something like that, Stacey, and the federal government's going to have to do something like that, because we have a stated objective not to use as much gasoline. We're going to have plug-in cars. We've got a big demonstration in Tennessee on plugging in our cars. We're going to have electric cars. So if the entire revenue stream for funding your roads and your infrastructure comes from gasoline, and you're going to use a whole lot less of it, by definition, you've got to go in a different direction in terms of how you're going to fund your infrastructure. I do think that's an important function of government. It needs to be balanced, but we've got to invest in infrastructure if we're going to be economically competitive. And I think we need, the national and state government needs to relook at how we fund the highway funds, because the gas is a dead-end street at some point.
Okay. There's also a lot of times that state passes little fees, adding new fees to this, new taxes to that. Would you be in support of those small fees that a lot of times people don't see? Would you be supportive of changing the fees on this or that, or adding fees or taxes to different little things that are possibly now exempt?
I think we got to be really, really careful on all that and work with the legislature to hold the line on any new fees, taxes, government encroachment, growth of government, frankly, and go the other way. I hear all the time, you know, Governor Bredesen's been a great steward of our state, you know, and I'll compliment him on certain things, but I understand too that we've had 6,000 new state jobs created while he's been governor. And when he talked about reducing the budget, cutting the budget, and the need to streamline and cut 2,100 jobs out, that was only a third of the jobs that have actually been created over this era. So we need to go the other way. I also know, though, the governor has to sign some things that might give a local government the ability to do something different with taxes. So you got to be careful. You say, I will never sign anything, because you end up signing things that would give the city of Knoxville the ability, sometimes I think under home rule, they actually have to have the governor's signature in order to levy some kind of a tax. So, but no new state taxes as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so you'd be against a statewide property tax if that were to come up.
Yes, again, that's another, like the income tax, that's a camel's head under the tent. You'd never get that ever go the other way. That's just a huge new level of government spending that we don't need.
Okay. Another hot issue right now especially is guns. And very important. Second Amendment rights are very important to Republican primary voters. How do you feel about legally permitted gun owners being able to carry in state parks?
Well, there's already a provision for the locales to determine whether or not that takes place. But statewide, yes, you have a concealed carry permit, you ought to be able to carry it anywhere. And if the local government then, under their provision, says, no, we don't want it in Knoxville parks, then Knoxville made that decision. But on statewide, sign that law that the legislature sent to the governor. Of course I would sign it. Concealed carry permits, frankly, cause less crime and more security, not the other way around.
Okay. Local parks, would you be in support of saying, a lot of local parks are now, they're talking about opting in versus opting out and things like that. Would you be more of an opt-in person or an opt-out person of allowing local municipalities to allow carry permit holders in local parks?
Well, again, I think that there is a separation of powers between the local, state, and federal government, and there should be. And just like I don't want the federal government telling the state government what to do all the time, I don't want the state government necessarily telling the local government what to do. But state law ought to say you can carry your concealed weapon with a permit anywhere you want to. And if the local government then says, we don't want you to take it here or there, and they have the authority to do that, then let them make that decision. But statewide, I think the concealed carry permit law should have been signed. We should give the concealed carry permit holder the right to be armed. And if there are places that the local government, under their protections, decide, no, we don't want them, here or there, they can make that decision. I really think this giving the local government and the state government more authority is important, because we don't want governments telling each other what to do, and the federal government especially has told us what to do too long. I'm a state sovereignty protector, defender. We'll tell them, they asked me, what if Obama starts issuing executive orders taking up our firearms of any kind or limiting our access to them? I said, we'll meet him at the state line. And I don't want a conflict or a confrontation, but there are certain things we've got to defend. And our state sovereignty is very important. Freedom's not going to be protected in Washington, it looks like to me, with this new team for a while, until we can have a big change. It can be protected in Tennessee. I'll be a governor that works with you, Stacey, to protect it.
Okay. One other issue that's come up about gun owners is restaurants allowing restaurants that serve alcohol to allow carry permit holders. Were you supportive of that legislation?
Yes, but the problem is they tell people it's guns and bars instead of Chili's. It's a restaurant, my goodness. And you carefully constructed it so that it's not after 10 o'clock at night. There's provisions in it, but that got way blown out of proportion. I think there's.
Well, I think the provision has been removed.
Oh, it has. Okay,
and so there's no
wide
provision.
open.
It's pretty much wide. It's open to the restaurant owner can opt out if they want, but that's about pretty much it.
Yeah, but yes, I would have signed that immediately, because the legislature sent it to the governor on a good constitutional basis. Okay.
Education, very important, I'm sure, to a lot of people out there in the state. Do you support school choice for children in failing schools?
Yes.
Okay. How about vouchers to private schools?
Well, we've tried that in Washington, D.C., and I supported that, and I wish that the Obama administration wouldn't have repealed it. I do think that we can demonstrate and try these things successfully in underserved areas and try to see how they work. I don't think we need a blanket voucher program for the whole state right now. I think we need strong private Christian education. We need home education at the highest level and recognize those graduates of home education like we do every other graduate, which was Mike Bell's legislation. And we need a good, solid public system. I've always been a little leery as a big advocate for private Christian education. Be careful where the dollar flows, because if the dollar flows into private Christian education and